same as the old norm. Everything's changing and I don't know when. This woke nightmare will end, thank God for Elon Musk.
Remember when we all loved this guy? Remember when we considered him the cool Reddit meme guy? God, what a fucking terrible time that was. I know we like to criticize Gen Alpha humor, Skibbity Toilet and whatever, but like, if I were to be honest, the shit that we thought was funny back in like 2018 to 2019 is so much worse. God, remember all those like PewDiePie memes, whatever, Fortnite is bad, Minecraft is good, Fortnite is for cringy babies, while Minecraft is for cool chads. God, that's the most unfunny shit I've ever seen. 2019 was an absolute cesspool year for memes, holy crap. Anyways, today I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before for this series. I'm going to be looking at a cartoon that literally has only one episode and that's it. I was originally going to wait until more episodes of this show came out, but then I decided, nah, that's a waste of time. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not a very patient person. Unless by some chance we never get a second episode of this show, I think it's fair for me to look at it on the search for the worst cartoon. This is The New Norm, the first sitcom on Twitter. No, I'm not calling it X. I can already tell this is gonna be a great show because I don't know a single f***ing person that spells sitcom with a hyphen. But anyways, this is a show made to talk about how this generation is. This is a show that's meant to criticize the new norm. How this current generation is woke and easily offended and how things should go back to the way that they once were. Yeah, this is a right-wing cartoon, in case that wasn't obvious enough already. See guys, I told you it wouldn't take that long. Not long ago, we looked at a really bad left-wing cartoon, and now we're looking at a really bad right-wing cartoon. I told you guys, a crappy cartoon is a crappy cartoon regardless of its political views. The episode begins with a man. No, I don't know any of these people's names, okay? I don't know if they have names, nor do I care at all. A guy is sitting in a chair, gets a can of beer, and is shocked by the fact that it has rainbow branding.
What's that?
Progress.
There is literally nothing else to indicate that the beer is LGBT except that it has rainbow coloring on it, because clearly rainbows are automatically LGBT related. You go outside after it rains, you see a rainbow in the sky, yeah, that's LGBT propaganda. Stay away, folks. God, this reminds me of last year when Pink Floyd posted something for the Dark Side of the Moon's 50th anniversary, and people were calling it woke just because there was a rainbow on it. Yes, I'm being serious. One of the most famous album covers of all time, for one of the most famous albums of all time, from one of the most famous bands of all time, is now woke because there's a rainbow on it. Because that makes sense. And friendly reminder that this album came out in 1973, so it's like undeniably boomer core. The Dark Side of the Moon is one of the greatest albums of all time, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Pink Floyd, but I'm not going to deny that they were one of the big bands for boomers. This just makes me realize that a lot of like old historical music events and whatever from the past, they would be considered woke if you tried doing them today. You know, the whole Summer of Love from 1967, Flower Power, Peace and Love, All You Need Is Love, that sort of thing. You try doing something like that today, you will be called a woke SJW liberal by the boomers that experienced the original Summer of Love. The boomers that ran the original Summer of Love. Irony is a beautiful thing, isn't it? So anyways, it turns out that this guy is under house arrest for extremely funny and hilarious reasons.
Ugh. It's your fault I got house arrest.
You're the one who threatened the school board.
I gently suggested
Yelled.
they stop brainwashing my daughter that girls aren't girls and men aren't men.
As he tries to leave his house, his wife, I guess, barges into the house alongside obvious stereotype. You already know where this is going to lead to. Pronoun jokes. Yeah, baby, it wouldn't be a terrible right-wing cartoon without pronoun jokes. Guys, pronouns are woke. Basic grammar is woke. You heard it here, folks.
Janice. What's that?
Warning, offensive.
Actually, that is one of my pronouns. Also they, them, and me.
You're non-binary?
How do you know that word?
I learned it in school.
That's why I'm locked up.
So as it turns out, obvious stereotype is moving in with the family, and old boomer guy is against that. We then meet old boomer guy's best friend and boss.
Chaz is here to re-educate Norm.
In non-bonery studies.
Offensive.
There you have it. There's the only mildly funny joke in this entire f***ing episode. A really crappy middle school tier insult, and it's the closest thing this episode has to a funny joke. This is the kind of humor we're dealing with here, folks. This is the kind of humor.
Offensive.
I'm allergic to dogs.
It's okay. Billy is an emotional support dog and non-binary.
Oh, okay then. Good dog.
I love the implications this scene has that allergies are woke, apparently. That's new. I've never seen that before in a right-wing cartoon. Usually I would expect the obvious stuff. Pronouns, wokeness, this generation is easily offended, etc. But like, allergies are woke now, apparently. That's new. I've never heard that before. I'll give the show that. Anything can be woke if you really put your mind into it. So then Boomer Guy's boss is talking about how his kid is thinking of transitioning and how that's a bad thing for some reason.
I come here to get away from woke.
Trouble at home?
My boy, or whatever it calls themselves now, is thinking about transitioning.
Reggie?
Try Regina.
Transitioning to what?
Hopefully not a Jets fan.
Okay, I gotta admit, this joke is mildly funny as well. I'm not even into sports at all, but like, if this was in a better cartoon, I would probably find it funny. Or like, someone that's more into sports would find it funny, I don't know. Boomer Guy offers obvious stereotype of beer, and then this happens.
Hey, pronoun. This bud's for you.
Offensive.
I can't drink. I'm not 21.
Yes, first allergies and now drinking age. Both of those are now considered woke, apparently. Underage drinking is considered anti-woke according to this episode. That makes sense.
Can't do this.
Yes, we can.
Find a way to break him. Maybe we can fix the country.
What the actual is this show? Seriously. You know, now I gotta wonder, is this show satire? Is this show intentionally bad? Is this a joke cartoon made to get a reaction? How is it that there are now 3 bad internet cartoons that I've looked at on this series that, like, I cannot tell if they're joke cartoons intentionally made to be bad or if they are serious with their quality? Like, they actually are this bad. Imagine if it turns out this show was just one giant joke made to get a reaction out of everyone, and it ends up succeeding because a lot of people have been talking about this show. Maybe we're taking the bait. Maybe I'm taking the bait. I don't know. Either that, or this could end up being a Red Ape Family situation, where the first episode is clearly made with serious intentions despite being absolutely atrocious, but then all the subsequent episodes after feel more ironic, like it's self-aware that it's bad, it's in on the joke, it's intentionally bad. And then that makes it even worse, because then at least, like, when the show was sincerely bad, it had a little bit of that funny bad feel. And that funny bad quality cannot be present if the show is intentionally bad. Anyways, after that, we get the brief Elon Musk cameo that I showed at the beginning of this episode. It's extremely short, it serves no purpose to the episode, Elon doesn't speak in it, it's just there for the sake of praising Elon, even though he's a terrible person and he has ruined an already awful website. The less said about it, the better. The episode ends proper with another staple of right-wing humor, a Disney is woke joke, because of course it does. What other way could the episode possibly end, am I right?
I almost forgot. We're going to Disney World.
Make America funny again.
I know it's not fair for me to judge this based on one episode, but like, come on, it's not like the other episodes are gonna be any better. Let's be real. There's a good chance that this show might be satire, and if it is indeed satire, well, I might change the ranking for it. I might move it up a lot higher, but I have no idea. Again though, even if they're like, oh, this show is actually satire, we made this to piss people off as a joke, even if that was the case, I would still have trust issues. Was this show intended to be a joke from the very beginning, or is this another Red Ape Family situation where it's like damage control basically, where the first episode was made with serious intentions and it's really awful, but then all the subsequent episodes feel a lot more obvious that it's jokey, that yeah, this is ironic, this is a funny satire parody, whatever, you took the bait, stuff like that. I don't know, to be honest. I honestly kind of hope that this show is 100% serious, because then that'll just save me the confusion. For the time being though, this show is in the rock bottom tier of the Search for the Worst Cartoon ranking list. Admittedly, maybe this could be a little bit of a funny bad cartoon to some people, but considering the fact that I hate Elon Musk with a passion, and that the Disney is woke joke at the end of the episode reminds me that any criticism towards Disney can no longer be taken seriously, even if it is valid criticism, I am unfortunately unable to look at this as a funny bad cartoon. But that's just me though. I'm sure things are much different for you. Megamind 2 and Joker 2 are no longer the most disappointing sequels of 2024, because New Norm Episode 2 is finally here, baby, and god damn it, is it a downgrade from the first episode in every single way. This whole thing reminds me of that anime that came out recently, where everyone said like the first episode was a masterpiece and a work of art and whatever, and then the second episode is complete dog shit in comparison. Like, I believe there was some behind the scenes drama that went on with the show, and that's why episode 2 is inferior in every single way to episode 1. Like, the animation quality is worse. I have no idea what the name of the show is. I only know about it because people say like episode 1 is amazing and episode 2 is garbage, but that's all I could think of. That's how I feel right now with the New Norm. I feel betrayed and heartbroken more than anything else. So for those who have no idea what the hell the New Norm is the self-proclaimed first ever cartoon on Twitter. No, I'm not calling it X. The show is about the new norm and how things should go back to the old norm. It's a right-wing cartoon. It contains a lot of anti-woke jokes, pronouns, everyone's easily offended nowadays, the whole song and dance. The first episode of the show was released in late June of this year, and almost immediately it was widely ridiculed all over the internet. It was trash, but it was funny trash, and so it would garner an ironic cult following. Despite that though, it would be a long time, a very long time before we got an episode 2. I swear to God, almost every single day I would constantly go back to the New Norm Twitter account to see maybe episode 2 was dropped already, maybe they announced episode 2 and when it's gonna come out. I'm not even kidding, I would do that. Because the moment episode 2 dropped, regardless of how it would turn out, I would make a video on it, just like that. But we never got an episode 2, not for a long time. At some point around August, I briefly considered making a video going over the New Norm and whether it was a joke cartoon or not. Because as soon as the first episode dropped, I had this question lingering on inside me. Was the New Norm intentionally bad? Is this a joke cartoon? cartoon. The fact that it had been months since the first episode came out and we had gotten no updates on an episode 2 made me think maybe this was never supposed to be a full-fledged cartoon. Maybe this quote-unquote first episode was actually just a one-off short that a few people made. They made this intentionally bad cartoon just so that they could get a reaction from people, which they did. And then once the funny bad novelty of the show wore off, they would just take the money and run, and just like that we would never get an episode 2. And they would never announce it either. They would just go away, they would just abandon it basically, never acknowledging the new norm ever again. That would turn out to be false in early September when it was announced that indeed there was going to be more new norm stuff coming soon. And then later on it would be announced that the new norm episode 2 would be released on October 31st, just in time for the upcoming elections on November 5th. Reminder, episode 1 came out June 25th, episode 2 came out October 31st. Now I have to remember that this is an extremely small cartoon that most likely has a micro budget or no budget at all. It feels weird to call the new norm an indie cartoon, but at the same time it's not this big corporate Disney cartoon either, so you know, if it's not one then it's the other. When you take into consideration the possibility that this show has like 10 people at most working on it, then you kind of understand why it took so long for episode 2 to come out. This whole thing just reminds me of the Red Ape Family, which is another cartoon that I looked at a long time ago. The Red Ape Family was this NFT based cartoon back when those were a big thing. Only 3 episodes were made and they were all released extremely far apart from each other. We are almost at the end of 2024 and we have gotten no episode 4, so I think it's safe to say episode 3 is the last we'll ever see of the Red Ape Family. And the Red Ape Family is another similar instance where I have no idea if it was made to be intentionally bad as a joke or if it's sincere in its badness. But I'm getting off topic. Episode 2 of the new norm has finally been released and I'm just gonna say, holy shit. It is a downgrade from the first episode. It is worse than the first episode in almost every single way. I know you might be saying, why would this be a downgrade if the show was never good to begin with, but let me just explain the difference. Episode 1 is funny bad. I didn't look at it as being funny bad at the time. There was a little bit of a funny bad feel to it when I first watched it, but I didn't really feel it all that much. In retrospect though, I find episode 1 to be hilariously bad, if it actually is 100% sincere and it's not made to be intentionally bad. And then episode 2 is just garbage in comparison. It's not funny bad, nothing happens at all in episode 2. There's like basically no plot at all. I guess episode 1 doesn't really have much of a plot either, but like there's more stuff to talk about with episode 1 compared to episode 2. We waited over 4 months for episode 2 and this is what we get in return. God damn it. I've never felt more disappointed before in my entire life. This isn't really gonna be me talking about New Norm episode 2, so much so as it is gonna be me talking about like, is the New Norm actually like a genuine cartoon? This is gonna be me going further into that debate of like, was the New Norm made to be bad on purpose, or is this 100% serious and genuine? Because episode 2 has made me question that even more than I did before. To be honest, I kinda saw this coming. Episode 1 was funny bad, but it just had this novelty feel to it, where it's like, there was no way they could replicate this for episode 2. That's the thing with memes. A lot of them just come and go, and that's it. On rare occasions, you get a meme that will just never die, but the New Norm was not going to be one of those memes. Eventually, the funny bad novelty of the first episode would just wear off, and then no one cares anymore about your show, assuming both episodes were made with serious intentions. If this came out much closer to episode 1, then it would be a different story maybe, but this came out over 4 months later. By that point, the novelty of the first episode just kind of went away. I don't even think there's any way for episode 2 to win, to be honest. If episode 2 tried to replicate the same novelty feel of episode 1, then it wouldn't be as funny, because you're just doing the same exact jokes again a second time, and it's not as funny. funny. What the episode does instead is not have any of the novelty that the first episode had, but then that makes it disappointing because it's like, what's the point? We waited over 4 months for this and it's not even ironically bad, it's not even funny bad. There's quite literally no way for episode 2 to win. So let's talk about it, shall we? If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be greatly appreciated. And with all that said, let us try to review episode 2, because believe me, there's almost nothing that happens in this episode.
If Kamala wins, we're out of here.
If Trump wins, we're out of here.
Bro, how the hell were they able to make Elon Musk even uglier in this episode than in the first episode? Like, how were they able to do that? Why does bro look like a supervillain now, like he's planning to take over the world? I know Elon Musk is a terrible person and he's done an awful job at running Twitter. I can verify both of those things from personal experience. But this is something that's supposed to be in support of Elon. This is supposed to be a pro-Elon cartoon. So it makes no sense for him to look like a villain in this. And then of course you also have the giga-chatification of Donald Trump over here. That's a sentence that I just said, which I feel is a lot more self-explanatory in comparison, so there's not really much for me to say about it.
No, they eat dogs and cats.
Your side eats dogs and cats.
Our guy just sings about it.
They're eating the dogs. Eating the pets.
Maybe we all can get along.
There, on the sloped roof. Ooh.
Ha! A DEI hire.
Guys, what the f is DEI? I keep seeing anti-woke weirdos bring it up and I have no idea what it is or where it came from. I have no idea why seemingly every single anti-woke person decided to make it a new buzzword. It's the same thing with Sweet Baby. I keep getting videos recommended to me against my will that are like, oh, Sweet Baby is ruining gaming and whatever, Sweet Baby is making video games woke, and I'm just like, what the f is Sweet Baby? Is that a developer? What games do they make? I don't get it. Yes, there are a lot of genuine issues within the game industry right now, but I don't think Sweet Baby, whatever the hell that is one of them. Whatever Sweet Baby is, I'm just gonna ask one question. Will it affect GTA 6 in any way, shape, or form? If not, then I don't care about it at all. Sweet Baby is none of my business. Even then, I don't even get what the pun is supposed to be. What's the joke? A DEI Aya? What the f does that mean? I wasn't expecting high-class, top-tier humor from a show that has non-binary studies as its best joke, but still.
I wonder what this button does.
Now we're stuck here with you.
We're stuck here with you. And they, them.
Communist, homophobe, hater, xenophobe.
My plan worked. They're destroying each other. Yet.
What do we do now?
Loot?
I need a beer.
Wait, where's our dog?
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats of the people who live there. And you know, ain't the same as the old norm.
I love how you could very easily tell that this song was made with AI, which only makes me scared at the possibility that the first episode's theme song was made with AI as well. Yo, ever since I made the first video on this show, I have had the theme song for this thing stuck in my head. It's like this really country butt rock song, and it just gets stuck in my head. Like, randomly I find myself humming it, I find myself thinking of it. It gets stuck in my head real easily, even though it's garbage. For the love of God, please don't tell me episode 1's theme song was made with AI as well. I've already felt enough betrayal right now. I don't need even more betrayal.
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm. Everything's changing and I don't know when.
And yes, that is the entire episode. Nothing happens in it. And so as a result, there's almost nothing to say about the episode. The only thing that I can really say about episode 2 is that it makes me think even more about whether this is an intentionally bad cartoon or not. I didn't think that New Norm episode 2 would have parallels to Joker 2, but here we are. Instead of giving the fans what they want, it's just a complete 180. Those that went into episode 2 expecting it to have the same quality as episode 1 are gonna be thoroughly disappointed by how boring it is. Like, there's just nothing. It's a nothing burger is what it is. They could have very easily just repeated the same things that they did for episode 1, but they chose not to. Why is Vladimir Putin in this episode? I would have thought this would have tied into something relating to Ukraine, but no, there's nothing at all. Episode 1 is at least funny bad. At least there's stuff that happens in it. You can get entertained by it even if it's ironically. There's nothing in episode 2. It's just boring. It's a waste of time. If you were expecting more of the same funny bad garbage from episode 1, you're gonna be highly disappointed. Reminder, we waited over 4 months for this garbage, and this is what we get. What a disappointment, seriously. But wait, that's not all. There's officially a merch store for the New Norm, so now you can officially get New Norm merchandise. Let the man himself explain it for y'all.
I'm Norm. I want normal beer. Problem is, nowadays, beer's covered in rainbows and drag queens. If only there was a better way. Turn any beer into normal beer with the Normal Beer Cozy. Get the Normal Beer Cozy now and make every beer a normal beer.
Yes, there now exists officially licensed New Norm merchandise for you to purchase. I'm not gonna lie, I would love to buy a shirt from here just for the novelty of it, but looking at the prices, I'm not sure if I want to do that. Then again, I did go out of my way to spend $200 to own the Nut Shack on DVD, so you know what, money doesn't mean anything to me. Money is nothing but a joke to me. I don't know how to feel now knowing that I could potentially stumble upon someone wearing a New Norm t-shirt out in public. Oh yeah, just because I said that I considered buying something from this place for novelty purposes doesn't mean you have to go and do that yourself. Don't go and steal mommy and daddy's credit card just so you could spend $50 on a fucking New Norm shirt. It's not worth it, I promise y'all. And that's about it. That's where the episode ends. That's New Norm episode 2. A complete disappointment in every single way. Maybe I was expecting too much out of this, but I don't care. All this does is make me scared for what episode 3 could end up being like, if we ever get episode 3. Surprisingly enough, this doesn't change my ranking for the show on the Search for the Worst Cartoon ranking list. I feel like it wouldn't be until episode 3. Again, if we do get an episode 3, that's what will determine whether I move it up higher or lower, or if it stays where it's at. If episode 3 is a return to form, a return to the funny bad nature of episode 1, then I move it up higher. If episode 3 is just like episode 2, then I move it down even lower. And then there's a very real possibility that episode 3 could end up being intentionally bad on purpose. Again, this could go in so many different ways. Maybe this show was made to be intentionally bad from the very beginning. Maybe the first episode was made with serious intentions, but all subsequent episodes were made as jokes. It's not explicit, it's very subtle, but maybe episode 2 was made to be intentionally bad, and all the subsequent episodes would be intentionally bad as well. There's no way the people behind this show are not aware at all of the ironic fan base their show has. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they just embrace that ironic fan base and they become self-aware. And then ironically enough, the show stops being funny when they become self-aware of their badness. And then again, there's the possibility that the show could be intentionally bad from the very beginning. They're just not acknowledging it at all. If it ever comes out that the new norm was intentionally bad from the start, then that no longer makes it funny now. It's only funny if it's unintentional, if it's sincere in its badness. And if they ever decide to come out and say, yeah, the new norm was made as a joke, it was made to be intentionally bad, you still have that trust issue inside of you. Are they being sincere about the show being intentionally bad, or is this just damage control? It's all just a confusing mess, that's what it is. I hope you're happy now, Norm, you f***ing bastard. After everything we've done together, this is how you treat me back in return? Never meet your heroes, kids. Never meet your heroes. If Mr. Bertram Season 2 ends up being the same thing, then I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. Stay strong, Bertram bros. Stay strong. There's no way our other goat could let us down. Surely he cannot. Anyways, that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time. Adios.